Hello everybody. Another video that's kind of well, I don't know, like a rant video, I guess. So, as you can see, we have a tweet on screen that we're going to be talking about. It's another Gacha video because I saw this on my timeline. My Twitter feed kind of gives me a lot of video ideas, and this is another one. So, before anything, I want to thank you guys for sticking around. I honestly was not really expecting to get much views at all on any of my videos, but a lot of my videos have been getting pretty consistent views, which, thank you for. I don't really have anything else to say about that, so, if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe now. If you want to wait until the end of the video to see if you like what I do, you can do that too. This isn't really, well, maybe I guess this is kind of the standard video. It's usually kind of a mix. I'm going to be making some more edited content while this is like the content I could push out very quickly. So yeah, if you like it, you could subscribe now, or you could wait and subscribe at the end. So, the tweet on screen says the biggest crime HSR ever committed to Honkai franchise is that it decided to swap arguably one of, if not the most interesting MC, Kiana, in a gacha medium to a self-insert that the whole personality revolves around silly jokes and absolute lack of character development. If it wasn't clear, you're talking about Trailblazer, Stel, Kalis, whatever you want to call them. And they're comparing it to Kiana. And the reason why I wanted to make a video about this is because I think one of the comments kind of encapsulated my thoughts a little bit, and we'll see if we can find it. But I want to say one thing. Thinking about broader gacha protagonists, I think broadly speaking, people expect too much from gacha game protagonists. They expect too much from their stories, as it is too. Gacha games as a whole, look, I play a lot of them. They're kind of mostly not good. I don't really fully, I don't fully subscribe to the idea that like gacha games are like, there's nothing good to ever come out of them because some of them produce good stories. But I think largely speaking, it is an inferior medium that is propped up more by the fact that it's free to play and gets constant updates. Also, if you like gambling, I guess you'll like it. That is a fair point to make, but that's not positive. So I just want to bring that up, that I don't think that gacha games are like largely good for the most part, and the reason I bring that up again is because we're talking about protagonists here. Even the gacha games that I like to praise a lot, I think it would be better if they were not gacha games, and I think for the most part there are problems with each of them, and especially boils out to their protagonists. Almost all of their protagonists have some sort of problem. You could look at let's look at Fate Grand Order. Fate Grand Order, for example, I think the protagonists, they're stuck in a situation where they want to get their protagonist development, but then don't really fully subscribe. There's like some part of them that doesn't want to push too much of a unique protagonist, that even though they go through development, they don't full subscribe to it. They don't full send, if that's the word. Which is a shame, because I think like Fake Runner for the most part it is very competent, but they don't full send with making the protagonist unique. Like, understandably, I would be fine with the way that he is at the beginning, or she is at the beginning, because fine, being a self-insert at the beginning is kind of not that big of a deal. Even now, I don't really actually care that much about it being a self-insert, but like, there needs to be more that they say. And I know some people are like, oh, Ritsuka says like things that are like, Ritsuka can like be kind of like meanish or whatever, or not meanish, but like really blunt. That's fine, but I also don't think that they. I guess for some part of me, I wish that the story would revolve a little more around. The story revolves around the two. I don't know how to describe it. There is something missing from the formula that they just don't want to add. And they're not the only one, so, you know, FGO, I don't think FGO fans are even getting mad at me, frankly speaking. I feel like most of them probably like, yeah, okay. But then you look at other gacha games, like, even, like, Genshin, for example. Genshin is one of the gacha games I think I have, like, the biggest grudge against, just because I really liked it, and then I feel like I've been just disappointed by it over and over again. The pacing of the story is one thing. I think the pace is terrible, but even past the pacing, I don't even know if Ether and Lumine don't talk. That's one problem, and that does kind of give off the signal that they are supposed to be a self-insert. But even then, when they're not self-insert, they'll have like the blandest possible personality. And at least for the HSR, I guess that's a benefit to it, is that when they do speak, they aren't really boring like Ether and Lumine are. I don't know. It is something to make note of. I think Wise and Bell are also a pretty good example of these characters are airing less from the self-insert thing, but they're not. A bit of the problem is that Bell and Wise are more interesting depending on if you do or don't choose them. I think Bell and Wise are more boring if you do choose them, and whichever sibling you don't choose becomes slightly more interesting because they have more dialogue. Let me mind you, they still have a lot of dialogue, the one that you do choose, but I don't know how to describe it. It feels like whoever you like more, honestly, would be better to be chosen. At least from my point of view. I liked Belle more as the supporting character. I mean, I always choose dudes to begin with for the most part in these gacha games, except for Lumine, just because I hated Aether's outfit, but I don't know. Belle and Wise are fairly decent, but they're not interesting enough, mainly because they don't. I don't know, I guess they just don't do enough in this story, because a lot of the story does kind of revolve largely around the other character, like the character on Banner, and you are playing the support to that character. I know some people probably like that, but yeah, I don't know. The one time we did have an arc where we were playing a larger role was Shengong, and people hated that, so I don't know. It's a bit iffy. I know that I didn't do the patch with Pyro. I don't know how to say his name. Pyroise. I don't think it's probably Pyro. But like, I didn't do that one, and I imagine that one's probably gonna have like something going on. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going through all the protagonists to kind of give you an idea of like why I think that like each of the protagonists has an issue. You even look at Nikke, for example. In Nikke, I think that the problem is just the fact that the story does not give enough attention to the main character. We've had one event, effectively one event, that actually kind of centers around the MC, the mana event, Wisdom Spring. And I know some people don't like that event because Commander went from being regular dude to not regular dude. I get it, but like, I just want chapters that are more focused on the character. Like, we had huge events and story chapters dedicated to Neon and Anis because they were not doing enough, but I feel like the main character, like the commander, isn't doing enough. We're like the moral compass, but we don't actually do much. We have Vopos, but like we don't do much with it. If they're not gonna make him do things in the main story, because I get it, they don't want to like push the story too quickly, then I wish they would at least like, how do I phrase it? I wish they would at least give like something to talk about with his backstory. Have him find out more about his backstory. I don't know. Have him interact with the GN and Suya more, because they're probably connected to his like past. So that's an issue with Nikke, and then I mean Uma, I can't really complain. It's like your character feels like a different character in every Uma like training route, which I think is kind of the point. I don't really have too much complaints about that. The game itself is just kind of grindy, which is a bit of a shame. I know Arknights, a lot of people glaze the fact that the Doctor does not have to be there for all the content, and that's good and fair. But I feel like I kind of have a similar thing to say about Nikke, where it feels like I want more events that actually have the Doctor do like evolve more, I guess. We had the I haven't gone through all the story, mind you, so the Argonauts fans are probably gonna be really annoyed at me, but from what I understand, we've only had the Babylon event to it's Babylon, right? I think it's Babylon. We only had that event really focusing on the Doctor, I think, and I don't know much events past that. It's been okay. But yeah, moving past that as well. Are there any other Gacha games I need to go through? Blue Archive and GFL, I think, are the only ones left, right? I can't comment too much on more events because I'm like really early in the game, so. I also didn't really talk about HSR, but I guess we'll land on that at the last because this is what the tweet is about. For GFL, okay, I actually will leave GFL because I do think there's something I want to say about it. I'll do Blue Archive. For Blue Archive, I actually don't think I have too much complaints about Blue Archive either, I'm gonna be completely honest. Blue Archive's biggest issue to me is that it's not even an issue. They don't really have a canonical appearance, which I know some people would be kind of iffy about. But I don't know. That does kind of help you have the whole thing where it's like, oh, you choose what the character is. Like you can make your own. Like every sensei can make their own like the OC basically to fill their role, which I guess is cool in its own way. Yeah, I actually really don't. I'm trying to come up with a complaint about Blue Archive, and this is probably coming off as glazing, especially since Blue Archive is like playing. You guys are probably gonna think he's glazing Blue Archive. He's a Blue Archive like PNG tube thingy. He has a Blue Archive gif on the top left with Harry. Not intentional. I would love to criticize it. Blue Archive has a lot of criticisms you can make about it. It's just hard for me to come up with a criticism about the protagonist because the protagonist kind of does what he needs to do. Has a large impact on the story. He does. It's not like everything revolves around. It does kind of revolve around it a little bit, but like it doesn't feel like he's the power carrier or anything like that. He's not like going god mode. He's like the moral compass, but is such an important moral compass that he affects the world on a grander scale, which is I think fine. I think that's kind of unique in its own way. Yeah, so yeah, I don't really have anything to say about Blue Archive. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I tried. Whatever. Blue Archive is just good protagonist, I guess. Not much complaints about it. I mean, you might not like him, but like, yeah, at least he's competent at his job. That there isn't much complaints you could have about him or her. Now let's talk about this. What do we have going on right now? HSR. So the biggest crime HSR ever committed. I already read that. I'm not gonna reread it, but I think it is fair to be kind of whatever about, yeah, I feel like it's fine to be kind of like whatever iffy about HSR's protagonist, because I don't think any of the horror games nail the protagonist perfectly, frankly speaking. And, Chaos and Stell kind of have a lot of self-inserty tendencies. They don't talk a lot, and their personality, if I'm going to be completely honest, just comes off as quirky. That's it. Saying the word quirky almost made me like hack up along. I don't know what that was. Wow. Yeah, their personality is kind of just quirky. And that's about it. And I know that's probably a problem for some people because they want the characters to be deeper than that, which is a shame. I get it, but I don't know. They at least aren't completely blank and actually just feel like paper. Like Dude, I'm sorry, I really do not like Genshin protagonists. I don't like Ether or Lumine. They care about Paimon, which I think is cool, but like, wow, I don't know, man. They just come up as kind of really boring to me. But let's continue with this. So they're talking about Kiana, and I want to find the thing that I'm talking about. There's also this note that I think is pretty interesting. I kind of agree with Trailblazer, never chasing shoot defeat and losing Charlie and Sons of Kiana. Neither do Genshin Travelers chase. Do Genshin Travelers. They chase shoot defeat, yes, or Okinawa, but then Okay, I feel like one note I want to make. I feel like one note I want to make is that I feel like a lot of people have this obsession with every protagonist has to face defeat to overcome it, and I agree. That is generally speaking. I mean, that's what the hero's journey is. There's a setback, but I feel like people. I feel like the way that people take it is that what they actually want is just. I feel like people would take fridging and be like, "Yeah, that's true defeat." They take a character just dying and be like, "Yeah, that's what true defeat is." And even in this case, if we were to take that as the truth, which I do kind of think that's what they expect, it wouldn't really be true then that Trailblazer never tasted defeat because, uh, Cyrene is effectively dead. She's not coming back. She's in a time loop, a perfect time loop that can't really be broken. I know some people are like, "Oh, they'll save them anyways," but like at the least, I don't at where we are at right now, that isn't the case, so we can't say that. As for Genshin Traveler, I feel like the defeat is more the fact that they are constantly like, I don't know. I haven't played Not Cry either too much, so I can't comment. But I feel like Genshin Traveler, even though I don't like them, I want to run a little bit of defense for them. Yeah, they probably do taste defeat. I doubt that it's like really anything. The problem is that none of these games honestly make defeat feel like something meaningful. You know, I think there's something to be said here. I think I'm not bringing up Luffy for no reason. Don't worry, don't freak out and leave. I don't think Luffy is a perfect protagonist, but I wish that at the bare minimum, for something that seems like it's taken some inspiration from like shonen stuff, that they would at the bare minimum kind of do some sort of like they need to do something with the defeat. You know, like Luffy did change and became stronger. It was a big motivation of his when he. Oh, there it is. It's not the full panel, but you got the idea. When he. It's Marineford, isn't it? Where Ace dies. They lose. Like, Luffy and the crew lose. They don't win at all. There's a full 100% loss. Unless you consider getting out with your life being a win. But, like. They lose there. The Marines win, if anything. That plays a big role for Luffy to become stronger and for him to, really chase his goal down. That's why I really wonder. It feels like, generally speaking, these characters get up too quickly from defeat. Which is to say that, like, the Trailblazer, not Trailblazer, well, Trailblazer does do this, but, like, I was gonna say the Traveler. I remember people were like, it was so, like, emotional after, Senora died, and it's like, no, it wasn't. Character looked sad for 2 seconds and was shocked, and then was like, okay, I gotta fight and immediately ride. I gotta be ready for this. It just it just kind of sucks. And I want to look at this because I'm trying to find the thing exactly because someone said, yeah, there you go. This is what I was looking at, and I thought about it more and more. And it's okay. This actually probably also illustrates how low of a bar it is, which is why I'm a little. I'm gonna be insulting Kiana a little more than she probably deserves because she's an actual character, which is something to say on its own. That's a good, which is what this thing says. This is such a low bar. She isn't a character with motivations of her own. That is such a low bar that it makes me find kind of question when people talk about her being well written. Do you mean that she's well written for a Gacha character, or do you mean she's well written in general? Because everything I've seen now from what I can conclude is that she has it feels like standard. I'll put it at this: is she feels like she's average at as a protagonist when compared to others. And this is what I was really like thinking about more and more. She's a cookie cutter, a female, weekly shonen jump. I believe that's what the WSJ stands for, hero archetype. Well, that already puts her mile ahead of most Gacha MCs. Her character running is still not that special if you're already familiar with how shonen jump heroes like Naruto, Bleach were written. And yeah, I think that's kind of true. So yeah, I don't know. I I think she's probably better written than most Gacha protagonists. But the reason why I wanted to make this video was to actually kind of open up a discussion here. Be open minded. Is she actually better? Is she actually like a 10 out of 10 written character? Like some people seem to be claiming. It's not this post in particular, but it's always been like a really common opinion in the Gacha sphere that you'll see like Impact Third fans say Kiana's the best written character in Gacha game. She's honestly like well one of the best written characters in general. Is that actually true? That's what I want to open the discussion to. And I don't want people to be bringing up other Gacha protagonists for this because, again, I do already kind of concede that she probably is better written than most Gacha protagonists. It's just that two things. One, I think she should be compared. If you're gonna do that, try to compare her to other protagonists. We're talking about is she well written in general. If your only exposure to characters is Gacha games, I again one of my videos I said this. I implore you to explore other like mediums. There's cheap games. There's piracy. Go pirate something. Look, I'm just. I don't. You know, you shouldn't pirate things from people if you can afford it. But like, if you can't afford it and you want to pirate it, go pirate the game, man. If you could play Impact Third, you can definitely play like a bunch of games. It's an old game, but it's like there's a lot of games you could play if you could play that game at bare minimum. And even if you can't play anything, you could watch things. Watch a movie. Watch a TV show. Go watch I don't know. Go watch Obsession. That movie I've heard is good. Go watch Breaking Bad. That's the one I always recommend because Breaking Bad is good. It's a fun watch. You know Jesse Pinkman is there. I'm a big fan of of Jesse. Uh, I don't know. I like this comment for example. This top one. You think Trailblazer the ugly MC in WoW is better? Like I don't think anyone's claiming anything about either of those characters being better than Kiana. It's like you he made up a character of like a person to fight in his head, which is why I'm saying if you're gonna do that, don't comment. I don't want that. Don't fight random people in your head on my comment section. I don't like that. And I don't disagree with the person with what they're saying their story is about. Cause from what I played of the game, yeah. But Survivor's Guild and Suits, I feel like that's kind of a thing a lot of the weekly shonen jump characters deal with. Like Luffy pretty definitively blames himself for like Ace's death, which is why he chooses to become stronger. And even Naruto's like blamed by the entire village for being like the host for the Nine Tail, the for Kurama, but like like they're both examples of people who are dealing with like the fact that they kind of do blame themselves to some degree. But that's kind of my point actually here. Now there's no but. It's that kind of shows that Kiana isn't the only character to deal with that. There's a lot of characters who deal with that kind of situation where it's like, you know, am I at fault for all these people dying? Is it my fault? She's not the only one who deals with that. I don't think that she's a terribly written character either, but I feel like my problem here is again, saying it's unique or the best written, again, probably one of the better written characters in Gacha games. I don't think that's really up for debate because there's not really much other characters in Gacha games who are written as a full character arc. I think let's bring up GFL. We'll bring up GFL now. GFL 2, I think, is a pretty good example of a character who seems to just be his own character. I mean, you could self-insert as him. I get it, but like, he's a dude, his own dude. He's a poor money managing a commander who cares a lot about the T-dolls. He feels like some level of guilt about it. He has a close relationship with Kalina. I'm still playing through the story, so forgive me for this, but he really does feel like a pretty complete character, all things considered. And, you know, I'll give 1 point for creativity here. Not creativity, but uniqueness here. He's fairly unique looking. I mean, he's on the older end of protagonist, which is fairly unique. Like, well, there's the woman one, the woman example. Where's the dude? Yeah. It's a fairly older looking dude. He's not like ancient, but he's like a failed, like compared to like, most of the Gacha protagonists. Most of the Gacha protagonists look like they're like really young. He looks like the opposite of that. He's on the fairly older end. He got stubble, looking like he got eye bags. Dude looking tired as hell. Even the female one, she looks fairly older too. She also looked tired as hell. Again, I'm not gonna say they'll be attacking GFL fans for this. I'm not the representative. Also, I'm not saying GFL's protagonist is better. I'm just saying that I think that she is not the only protagonist that is well written or unique. I think it is a bit. I don't know. Is it elitist to say that like Kiana's the top dog? I don't know. Again, I don't even think this person's being exactly mean either. She's cookie cutter for a weekly Shonen Jump character, but they're even saying this still puts her ahead of most Gacha characters. Okay, I think we need to. Okay, this is, I think, one of the ones I saw earlier. I want to cut this part out because specific comment, that's kind of pointless. So there's her coming from a Chinese company that has nothing to do with anything. It's cool. Like, what do you. That has no impact on the character. For Gacha, she's special, but for Shonen, she's typical. She's still special in Shonen since you don't see much female MCs on Shonen anime genres. Yes, we don't. There's a couple of them, like, there's still a couple of them. Like, Freerun, I believe, will be labeled as Shonen, and Freerun is definitely the MC of that. Even Fern has more time than, like, Stark, so, like, yeah. There's others that you could probably think of, but largely speaking, I think she's another magical girl. How many iconic magical girls are there before Kiana? This is actually the one that really annoyed me more than anything else. I think this is fine. Whatever, fine. But this is what kind of bothered me. How many iconic magical girls are there before Kiana, Madoka, and Sailor Moon? That was what kind of annoyed me. Not the Shonen thing. Whatever about you commenting on Shonen. What? Why are we acting like the magical girl genre is not very large and has a lot of different characters in it that are very, very popular? Just because you're like a new age Western like anime fan doesn't mean anything. Look, I don't know a lot of magical girl anime either because I'm still a Western fan at the end of the day. I'm an old like a. I'm not old. Don't. That's not what I wanted to say. I'm an older. That doesn't sound right either. I started watching anime in like 20. like 11 man. We'll put it like that, okay? I don't know why I had such a hard time saying that, but even I know there's a lot of magical girl stuff. Not even commenting the fact that you didn't put something like Card Capture Sakura, which was popular over here to begin with. You have Madoka, you have Cinema, like you said. You have any of the Procure stuff is all magical girl stuff. There are so many. Utena? Utena's a magical girl thing. I'm pretty sure it is. You have all these different things, and you just don't want to mention them. Utena should probably be considered more iconic in every way than her. Where are we getting this idea that the Kiana will be like super unique? And even that note about lesbianism, Utena already has stuff that you could think of like that. Like it made me mold a little bit. I won't lie to you. Like, we don't need to make up things. We don't need to lie. The magical girl genre is massive. It is influential, and we don't need to downsize that to bring up your favorite character. You know, like, I like Denji, but I'm not gonna say that, like, oh, Denji's the only shonen protagonist. Like, no. That's dumb. Just like this is dumb. The person's not dumb, but this comment of theirs is dumb. I don't know this person. Don't jump on them. And the note I wanted to make about this, the shonen anime thing. So, the reason why I actually wanted to I blinked out for a second. For Gacha MC Special. Okay. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is that they're right. There are not a lot of female protagonists in shonen. Again, the China part is completely pointless. I don't know why they said that. China doesn't really make much anime to begin with. I don't know what they're talking about there. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? I don't know. But ignoring that, they're right about that. But I think the greater point here is that most shonen, it's like, for example, most shonen protagonists are dudes and most shoujo protagonists are women. And I think that generally speaking, they would probably. Okay, actually, there's two things I want to say. One, I think it's weird to expect that shoujo is only going to be romance. I was talking to my sister about this, and she was explaining to me that because she looked at the same thing, I showed it to her, and she was a little surprised, I guess. She was like, "Why?" She's like, you know, shoujo doesn't only mean romance. There are action shoujo. A lot of the magical girl stuff is shoujo, but they still have a lot of action in it. The shoujo does not just mean romance. So, generally speaking, I think that even then, Impact there will probably still be a shoujo at the end of the day. It's just that Kiana acts like a shonen protagonist, which isn't particularly unique, is what the point is that they're making, is that she should be unique in the shoujo genre, I guess, but she's not unique as a character because she's still following shonen tropes. It's just she's doing it in a different genre. Again, I find it always kind of, I just find it kind of odd. Magical girl. What the fuck is a Wikipedia, Tom? What the fuck? I made a Wikipedia magical girl. That's kind of funny. But yeah, dude, look at this, so many. I get it, man. But like, it's dumb. It is dumb to be rapping on like one of the more influential anime genres that's pretty defining for the entire shoujo archetype. Like, I know about Minky Momo. I also do know about Princess, and I just didn't comment on that. Those are tokusatsu shows, we don't need to see that. Oh, Cutie Honey. Do I know about Winning Peach? I think I've seen this too. Card Capture Sakura. You have like so many stuff that it's just, it makes me mad to kind of poop on a genre that's very influential. Like you know Madoka because Madoka's newer, but you don't want to look at anything older. Like, come on. Look, I get like some of these are not like some of these I think are pretty clearly not shoujo. Pretty notably, I think Fake Khalil in her Prisma Ilya is not shoujo. I don't think that's a shoujo whatsoever. But you know, everything else for the most part is shoujo. I don't think Little Witch Academia is considered a shoujo either, is it? This is probably considered shonen. I don't actually know. Maybe it isn't. I don't actually know what this would be classified as. But yeah, don't poop on a genre that is influential, that probably influenced your character, that influences a lot of anime in general. I don't like that. That's not. Be a little more intelligent about that. And I guess my last points before we complete the video, because I've been dragging this a little bit. It is alright to be a self-insert, believe it or not. That's all I want to say. It is alright for a character to be a self-insert. I think that you could make the self-insert better in a lot of ways, but it is alright to be a self-insert. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's stop acting like it's a terrible evil to commit. I think most people prefer otherwise, but even if you are not a self-insert, I mean, even if you are a self-insert, the game could still be good. Arguably, I think Blue Archive is a good example. Besides the fact that Sensei has a very good moral compass, he's better than most people in general. Largely a self-insert character, and I think the story still is fairly good. So yeah, all in all, yeah, I guess that's it. Also, very small note. Please, to Genshin fans, Rover's not the worst written character. Please calm down on that. I know you hate Wu, but like, character's not actually all that bad. I think he's the best written character, like a lot of Wu fans say, but wow, we need to calm down here. All in all, though, yeah, that's really about all I have to say about this. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.